Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we are going to talk about specifically the Super Mario movie in context, the Super Mario Brothers movie in context to Dungeons & Dragons, okay? Spoilers for the... Excuse me. Spoilers for Super Mario Brothers movies here. So, first of all, why do we need to talk about the Super Mario Brothers movie in context to the Dungeons & Dragons film? Well, the Super Mario Brothers movie is intimately tied to the Dungeons & Dragons movie as far as competition. So, Dungeons & Dragons released on March 30th, and Super Mario Brothers released literally the next weekend, right? So, Super Mario Brothers is a huge problem for Dungeons & Dragons. In fact, Dungeons & Dragons had a slow start, and a lot of people who don't know anything, and I'm so tired of having these conversations with people who have like 1/4 of the facts and all the opinions, right? Like, and the reality is they're like, oh, it'll pick it up on word of mouth. And I'm like, no, there's a $1 billion blockbuster dropping the week after. And here's the even if the word of mouth spread, where would they go see it? All the premium theaters are being taken by Mario, and quite literally, like 25 or even 50% of the screens that could possibly play on are being given to Mario, because Mario is identified by the U.S. public as a massive intellectual property, which it legitimately is. And frankly, I can't pretend Super Mario Brothers is a far larger intellectual property than Dungeons & Dragons right now. It's just the fact of it, okay? So Super Mario Brothers is a virtual knife in the side of Dungeons & Dragons. Like, if Dungeons & Dragons actually, $38.5 million domestic opening on opening weekend for Dungeons & Dragons was absolutely catastrophic. It's really, really bad. But it got great reviews, and if it had if it had an open runway, it might have, gotten some money based on word of mouth, but that's just not going to happen because people are going out like crazy, going out in outlandish numbers to see Super Mario Brothers. So, now here's the thing. If the Super Mario Brothers movie sucks, right, then maybe we can gain some ground in third or fourth week, right? But there's other good movies coming out. And so let's talk about it. Does Super Mario Brothers, is it a good movie or is it a sucky movie? And the reason why we're talking about it is, if it sucks, that's actually good for Dungeons & Dragons, because it gives Dungeons & Dragons a chance to earn some money back at the box office. So first of all, I'll just tell you my story real quick. So this is second release weekend for Dungeons & Dragons, and at this point I bought 13 tickets to. I'm personally responsible for 14 tickets being bought for Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, right? However, and I feel like, I don't want to say I betrayed Dungeons & Dragons, but I am part of the problem in that, so where does Dungeons & Dragons fit in my life? It's, I know people like to go, oh, Scott, you worship Dungeons & Dragons. It's not even remotely true, right? I have a hierarchy in my life. It's, Christian, husband, father, Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons & Dragons is literally the fourth most important thing in my life. So my son came and he said, hey, I'd love to see Super Mario Brothers, and I'd love to bring some friends. And I was like, no problem, right? So Super Mario Brothers opened on Easter weekend, okay? And to be clear, what that means is, so it opened on Easter weekend, right? So what happened is, my entire family came home for Easter, which is really nice. So, I have me and my wife are raising our last son. Every other child is out of the house at this point, right? To some extent or another, right? And so we have one child that we're still raising, and, just doing the best we can to finish strong, and, so everybody came home. And so I bought 10 tickets to Super Mario Brothers. I felt terrible. Like, week 2, I'm buying 10 tickets for Super Mario Brothers, right? But I love my son more than I love D&D. There you go. So he brought 4 friends, and then it was me, my my oldest son, so it was my youngest son, 4 of his friends, and we handled transportation and everything. This was like a family event, man, right? And so we handled, and then it was my older son, my oldest daughter, and my youngest daughter, and then my youngest daughter has a friend who she brought home and staying with us for the whole weekend from college, right? So it was a thing, man. We had 10 people that we brought to this movie. Was it good or was it bad? And is it going to give Dungeons and Dragons an opportunity to get, is that sucky Super Mario Brothers movie that we're hoping for, did that manifest? No, it did not. It is an adequate movie. Super Mario Brothers is an adequate movie, right, with a very bad ending, okay? And actually, I can tell you right now, there will be no spoilers for Super Mario Brothers in this content. I thought there would be, but there's not. It is an adequate film with a very, very strong ending, right? And so it's, unfortunately, Super Mario Brothers is good, and that means Dungeons and Dragons is not going to have a window to get some incredible, to get more screens back, more of the premium screens back, and more of the good screens back. And people are going to continue to go to Super Mario Brothers in massive amounts, right? So, Super Mario Brothers is real competition for Dungeons and Dragons, and it really cut it out, because Dungeons and Dragons needed its good word of mouth to manifest at the theaters, and there were literally no theaters for that good word of mouth to actually manifest, and that is responsible because of Super Mario Brothers. So that's the bad news. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion about the Super Mario Brothers movie. Did you see this thing? Did you think it was good or bad? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.